has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall, coast to coast.
Well, look who it is. The mayor of Miami, Joe Ranieri, joins us today on C2C. Thank God, from South FLA. I want to start with the Panthers because we've actually been hearing from Morency how great the Leafs are for the last couple of nights as they've taken a 2-0 lead in that Eastern semi with both wins at Scotiabank. And William Nylander's been playing great. They've got this backup goalie playing great. They got Domi playing great. And the bottom line is the Panthers aren't playing great. I mean, I thought they looked better last night, and they had the 2-1 lead on the Marchand goal early, 15 seconds into the second. But then they gave it right back.
Right. Yeah. And we've had no time, Scotty, and it's a pleasure to see you again, my man, but we've had no time to celebrate any lead in this series. Toronto has done an amazing job of bouncing back rather quickly in this series. But let's face it, in game one, the Panthers didn't show up in the first period. They showed up in the second and third period, but the lack of effort early cost them. And the turnovers keep costing them, if we're being honest. Turning the ball over at center ice and then having these 2-on-1s. It's just, once again, it bit us last night. But you know what it says, Scotty, in a 7-game series, that it really doesn't start until a road team can win a game. And we'll see how that works out in game 3 for them.
So when you saw him last night pull that goalie with, Bobrovsky with 3 minutes left, and they had that extra attacker, I mean, to tell you, they put it on Toronto. I mean, I cannot believe that extra attacker and that 3 minutes that they had, I just can't even fathom they couldn't score, because it seemed to me like they had about 10 chances and they just couldn't put it in. It's just like, it was like there was Teflon in front of the goal. They just couldn't put it in. And it actually blew my mind. I thought they were going to score for sure.
Yeah. Well, and listen, they had plenty of opportunities, not just in that final 2 minutes, Scotty, but they had plenty of opportunities in the second, in that third period. But give credit. I mean, Joseph Woll, give credit to him. He stood on his head in that game yesterday. He's going to be the goalie. I don't think Stollers is even traveling here to Sunrise, Florida. So he's the guy for Toronto. But again, it's one thing to win some games at home. We'll see how he does here on the road in game 3.
So the next two are in Sunrise. What are people saying down there about the champs being in trouble?
They are a little, they're concerned here, and as well they should be. I mean, they basically just manhandled Tampa Bay in 5 games, right, Scotty? And everyone thought for sure Tampa was the team that was going to represent the East when it was all said and done. They manhandled them, and we saw them have trouble with Ottawa, the Leafs. Now all of a sudden we're down 2 games and under. It feels like an eternity since we've been down like this, but there is optimism because we've seen this team do it before, Scotty, and they have to make the adjustments. They're elite defensively. I still give Bobrovsky the edge in goal, even though he's given up 9 goals here in 2 games. I think it's the defense of the Florida Panthers that has to show up in game 3.
Real quick, we've been talking on this show a couple times lately of this kid in Miami, Stowers, that's been raking the ball all over the ballpark for the Marlins.
Yep.
Are people noticing him down there?
Oh, we have a baseball team? I wasn't even sure that, Scott. True story. I was at 7-Eleven the other day, and they were handing tickets out. That's how, you buy like a big gulp and you get 2 tickets behind home plate.
Right.
No, I'm kidding here. The big issue here, of course, there is some talent, some young talent on his team. But Myers, I think, is also another arm that, of course, they'll end up trading to the Yankees at some particular point. But poor Sandy Alcantara is just, every time he goes out there, it feels like maybe his best days are behind him, Scotty. And that's unfortunate because that guy's a Cy Young winning pitcher that had big aspirations ahead of him, but unfortunately, it looks like the surgery is not exactly working out great for him.
What are they talking about with the Dolphins draft? And I know the kid, wasn't Ewers the last quarterback taken, and they took him as well, didn't they?
Listen, they're all in, chips all in on Tua, right? So they did do, I think, a pretty good job of addressing, they had to, the offensive line and the defensive line. They had a mass exodus in free agency on the defensive side of the ball. They had to address that. They had to get some protection for them. They went a different way in the running back position in the draft too as well. They got a little bit younger there. The Miami is going to live and die with keeping Tua upright and that offense. And can they eventually win a game in cold weather? That's it with Miami. Until we see that, Scotty, the rest is great. They're wonderful in 70 degrees. But if you don't protect Tua and you can't win when it's, 22 degrees, then what are we doing here, Miami?
So I saw the CBS came out with their playoff teams for college football already, and they actually have my Canes in the field.
Yes.
So they must be assuming that Beck's going to do well for Miami. How do you think they're going to be with him? Is he throwing the ball? Like, did he throw the ball at all in the spring after he had, the elbow problems?
Well, apparently they're saying, once again, and this is no shock, right, Scotty, that the draft class here, and this has always been what Miami has been known for. It's never been a matter of talent, but there is a lot of buzz around Carson Beck, and there is a ton of buzz around this new class coming in and some of these transfers they're getting. So, but nothing, Scotty, you and I haven't heard about this team over the last 30 years this time of year, right? It's always, this is it.
Right.
All right, we'll see how that's going. It's not because of a lack of talent, that's for sure, Scott.
They pike every time, and Ward piked. He piked against Georgia Tech. He piked against Syracuse. He piked against Iowa State. I don't care what anybody says. He piked. Your Jets got my Justin Fields from the Steelers. Are you excited about that or not?
Well, listen, it's
no.
better than the alternative, which is, I guess, Tyrod Taylor now. But I'm hopeful, Scott, that not one pick in this year's draft did any Jet fan go, what in the heck are they doing, right? So maybe, just maybe, the front office, the head coach, maybe, just maybe they have a game plan here. They didn't do anything crazy. Loved their top pick on the offensive line. But listen, they got to be able to run the ball, and he's got to stop turning the ball over. More importantly, you have to protect him. If they can do that, I still have some faith here in this Jets defense to make some noise.
You used to like the Knicks. Do you like what you're seeing from them against Boston?
Love what I'm seeing with them. You know what it is? Because it's not that they're necessarily more talented than Boston, but what they are is they've got more heart. They are actually beating the snot out of the Celtics on the court. They just want it more, Scott. Is it me? I'm watching these two games and I'm going, this Knicks team, there is something different. The heart of this Knicks team, I don't see it on the Celtics' faces. I didn't see it in game one or game two.
Joe, always great seeing you. It's great having you on C2C. It's always good when you're on GTD as well, and everything else you're doing on SportsGrid. Thanks for coming on Coast to Coast today. Enjoy the playoffs tonight and the rest of the way. We'll get you back on soon enough.
I appreciate it, Scotty. I got a 6:30 reservation at Scarlett's. I'll see you then, my man.
I love that play.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Cosmo was supposed to fight Ciaran Clark, but he had to pull off injury. You get the call. You get to go in there. What was it like for you when you got that call, jumping in there and be part of this bantamweight tournament on short notice?
Terrifying, man. 2 weeks notice against a stud, but I've been preparing for my whole life for it, and I couldn't say no to the opportunity, and saw what happened. I came in there and kind of shocked the world. Not kind of, I did.
Only on SportsGrid.
Malaysia Fawali, who you guys know I am a huge fan, has decided to switch allegiances and stay in league. And now she's going to go play for Kim Mulkey. Her, Flau'jae Johnson in the backcourt. It's going to be interesting to watch. You wonder sometimes with roster construction, maybe too much is not too good.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
We know your other brother Marv did the Knicks forever, but you've done just about every team in the league. You did Ames. Yeah. You did Dr. J games.
But after 45 years in this crazy business, people kept telling me, you got to write a book. So I did, and here it is.
Ferrall, Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all. Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there. A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Always good to see the mayor of Miami, Joe Ranieri. All right, we continue on with more NBA rack talk here as the playoffs are in deep mode.
Yes, they are in deep mode. Before we get to tonight's game, and there's only one game tonight, unfortunately, let me just show you how much the board has changed for the odds to win it all, to win the NBA championship. So the Thunder stabilized themselves after winning last night. They're still the favorites at plus 120. But then you have the Celtics, who have gone down a bit but are still the second choice. Cavs and the Knicks. Now the Knicks that's as high as they've been, 10-1 now to win. I saw them last night when they were down 20. It was like 20 or 25-1, and by the end of the game it got all the way to 10. Then the Timberwolves, Pacers, Nuggets, and the Warriors are the long shot now with Steph out.
So look, I know this sounds crazy, but if you ask me, let's say hypothetically the Pacers somehow get by Cleveland because they're up 2 and they're going home. So are the Knicks. So let's say hypothetically they both go. I still think the Pacers beat the Knicks because, Mike, you've seen the Pacers kick the Knicks' teeth in every time they play them. I mean, every single time they play them, they beat them. The Pacers are the Knicks' worst nightmare. They're their kryptonite. So at that price, at 13-1, I don't think you can go wrong. And then I think the same thing will happen to them that happened to them last year. They're, the Celtics killed them, but I think they can beat the Knicks. And I think Oak City, if they had to play the Pacers in the NBA final, it'd be basically a nightmare for the NBA. It's not what they want. But imagine if it was. I still think the Thunder would blow them out. I think 5 games. Literally. Because I think the Pacers can beat anybody, but they can't beat Oak City. And Oak City, I am not convinced. Look at how they have Denver at 14-1. I am not convinced at all that they are winning because of last night. Last night was a given. Tonight should be a given for the T-Wolves. No Curry, and you can't win at home by 15 or 20? Something's wrong with that picture. But I am not done with Jokic and the Nuggets in the thin air in the next 2 games in Denver. They are good. They looked really good, didn't they, when they won 121-119? They looked real good that night. Now all of a sudden they suck. Calm down. All this stuff about who's going to win the title now is insanity.
It is, but look, it's hard for me. Would anybody in the East beat the Thunder? You seem to sound like no. You don't think the Knicks would beat them? You don't think that the Pacers would beat them? So, I mean, look,
I don't think the Knicks
Thunder
can beat the Pacers. I think they can beat the Celtics. I never thought that they could. Let's be honest. But I bet on them in both games with the big fat number. And they never beat the Celtics. And now they're up 2-0 on them. If they win that game Saturday, you can forget about it. It'll end up being Knicks and Pacers, in my view, and they'll lose to the Pacers. I mean, literally, go look for yourself. Every time they play them, they lose to them. It don't matter where it is, Fieldhouse or at the Garden. Every time they play the Pacers, they lose. The Pacers have their number.
Had a lot of problems with them. They certainly have, especially this particular group.
I think they have matchup problems with them. Because to me, the Knicks are 6-7 at best. To me, the Pacers are 10 deep.
10 deep. They put a bunch of guys out there, causes the Knicks a lot of problems. All right, let's go to tonight. And we only have one game, which is unfortunate. It'll be just after 8:30 p.m. East in Minneapolis.
It's a hockey night in Pittsburgh.
It's hockey night in Pittsburgh, indeed. Let's start. Of course, it wouldn't be the playoffs without coaches crying about the officiating. So why don't we start with Minnesota Timberwolves head coach Chris Finch, as he had plenty of issues with the officials in game number 1.
On defensive rebounding, they do a lot of fouling, holding, shoving, pushing, and tackling Rudy. That's clear. Sent a bunch of those clips into the league. In fact, I'm not sure I know another player in the league with Rudy's pedigree that is allowed to be physically beaten on the way he is. And so, we gotta address that one way or another.
I mean, he sounds like they're out there hitting him over the knee with a billy club. Like, I mean, that's how he makes it sound. He makes it sound like they're punching him in the head down low. I mean, I didn't see any of that. I mean, it's a physical game. The playoffs have been that way so far.
Listen, Sour Grape City, they got their ass beat. So you can blame your mother. I don't care who you blame. It's one thing, you can watch, like, the Celtics complain the whole night, both games, all night. They just cry to the refs all night. Every call's wrong. It's not that there's no fouls. It's that they're always wrong. They never commit a foul. I tweeted that out. They haven't committed a foul in years, and they are absolutely drunk. Just stop. Now, here's a guy gets his ass beat, and he's blaming the refs. They got their ass beat with no Steph Curry. Tell your mother. Have some shepherd's pie. I mean, you're a femme. Is there anything worse than a guy crying when he lost and got his ass beat on his home floor and he didn't do jack about it coaching? No adjustments, no nothing. Shut up. Shut up.
That game.
He looks pathetic.
That game was not about officiating.
At least Missoula's like, we didn't do anything right, and all we did was miss shots. Wide open looks.
Like you said, like that game had nothing to do with refs. That game, 1 loss. I mean, for them to lose a game that Steph Curry didn't play 60% of it. For him to not play 60% of the game and they lose by double digits. That's a tough way to go. Now, of course, Kerr had to respond to that. I will play you that when we come back, and then I'll give you the numbers for tonight. Another big number here in the NBA playoffs. But the big numbers have been going down a lot the last couple days. We shall see if it happens again tonight.
I've never seen anything like it, these spreads. It is it's so dangerous. Like, who in their right mind? Like, I grabbed 10.5 with the Knicks twice. I mean, how about I got 9.5 and 8 with the Pacers, and they won both games outright.
knows how to show love to our everyday heroes. So if you're a first responder, you are in for some perks. Lots of hotels and casino offer big discounts to any first responders who can show valid work or volunteer ID. So treat yourself to a discounted stay. You deserve it. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The Warriors' future was uncertain. Are they going to break it up? Steve Kerr coming back. They get Jimmy Butler, and they surge all the way through, and now they're through the first round.
The Warriors have guys, because of how special their star three trio is, they can make the guys around them better. They can elevate the way that they played. And we saw that. Steph Curry, 3 points in the first half, steps up in the second half, 19 points in the second half to carry them home.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Under him was Sharon Moore, who also participated in the cheating scandal with Connor Stallions. So you know what happens to him? He doesn't lose his job. He doesn't get a 10-year show cause. He gets to keep his job, and they go, we're just going to suspend you for 2 games next season.
Now, all of a sudden, they're coming out with everything that we knew to be pretty much true when it was happening. Yeah, they were cheating. It was like Belichick and the videotapes, right?
The early line. Only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
18.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, what is Steve Kerr? Is he got a retort here?
He does actually have a retort. So the reporters went and told Steve Kerr, I guess it was an hour or so later, that Finch was crying about the refs. So, of course, Steve Kerr then had to do the same to make sure that the refs know that he could cry too.
Yeah, I mean, I was upset the first 10 minutes of the game. It was just like Houston all over again. They were bear hugging Steph, and they could have called 6 fouls. But the league has established the physicality in the playoffs. Chris talked about it last week. Just the overall physicality isn't. To me, it's crazy out there. Well, what's happening? Everybody's fouling each other. I think they could have called a foul 6-7 straight possessions with them guarding Steph. And so I got my complaints too. Trust me, we all do. And this is how it works in the playoffs. We watch the tape. We see all the fouls on them that aren't called. They watch the tape. They see all the ones on us that weren't called. It's a physical game. It's just going to be. And both teams have to adjust. I'm getting ready to send my own clips into the league. So.
Yeah, listen, send them all you want. You're both sissies. I got to tell you, it's the same thing I was talking about before, Mike, about the Celtics and Knicks. One team, they're both getting all kinds of calls against them. Both of them are getting calls against them. One of them is whining and crying about every whistle. The other one is giving them, the refs, dirty looks like, are you effing kidding me? How bad do you suck? Like the Knicks are treating the refs like, man, you really suck at your job. And then the other team is actually crying that they're not getting these calls. But there is no one that I've seen in the playoffs so far that has been mugged more than Steph Curry was by the Rockets. I mean, they literally, they kidnapped him, tackled him, cuffed him, and had sex with him. Every single minute he was on the floor, he got tackled and mugged. And I mean, bear hugged, you name it. He literally was mugged coming out of the bodega. Literally mugged. Didn't even see it coming. Back to the head. No one gets fouled more than that guy because he's in constant motion, right? Well, they finally got him injured, and he's now pulled his hammy, and he's out. So they're finally happy. But I would agree with Kerr on one regard, is that the playoffs have become massive, like in terms of physicality, It's different than the regular season. And honestly, shouldn't it be? Are we not playing for a championship here? Are we not playing for a title? Should you not have to earn it? Does the same thing apply in the NHL? Don't tell me the regular season they hit the same way they do in the Stanley Cup playoffs. I mean, it's just way more physical. I think the NBA and NHL playoffs should be physical, should be chippy, should be like the Detroit Knicks series was violent. Isn't that what we want as fans? Don't we want it? So don't cry to your mommy and get your little binky out and your little bottle of milk and your formula and you know, your applesauce and yogurt. What kind of femmes are we here anymore? I want to see more of it. I want to see guys like that call last night on Hart on the turnaround 10-footer from Brown in the paint was the worst call I've ever seen. He never touched him. And they gave him an and one, and the guy's like showing his muscles. Like he wasn't even touched. I mean, can we at least lug on the guy? Can we, I mean, you can't even breathe on these dudes. The difference is they're letting them get away with murder with physicality, but then they're calling all these air whiff fouls where there's no contact at all, and the refs just flat out suck. And I'm sick and tired of hearing about Scott Foster, too. Scott was out for 2 months ill, and he's back tonight. Like, they treat him like he's some kind of player. Like, he's back from what, injury? No one gives a flying F about Scott effing Foster and his health. I don't care if he dies. I really don't. I don't like refs. I never have. I told you a million times they ruin everything. Everything. If you get divorced, blame the refs in the NBA. They're the reason.
They do ruin everything, and you should
ruin
know
every game. Every game.
You shouldn't know any of their names, but unfortunately
Ever.
you do. You should never know the refs' names.
I thought that crew last night in Boston was awful. 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 How do you not call that foul on White on the Brunson 3? I mean, Christ, the guy almost broke his leg. How do you not call that? It's because you're on the take. It's as simple as that.
Well, that's refs suck. That's what it comes down to.
Knows how to show love to our everyday heroes. So if you're a first responder, you are in for some perks. Lots of hotels and casino offer big discounts to any first responders who can show valid work or volunteer ID. So treat yourself to a discounted stay. You deserve it. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The Warriors' future was uncertain. Are they going to break it up? Steve Kerr coming back. They get Jimmy Butler, and they surge all the way through, and now they're through the first round.
The Warriors have guys, because of how special their star trio is, they can make the guys around them better, and they can elevate the way that they play. And we saw that. Steph Curry, 3 points in the first half, steps up in the second half, 19 points in the second half to carry them home.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Under him was Sharon Moore, who also participated in the cheating scandal with Connor Stallions. So you know what happens to him? He doesn't lose his job. He doesn't get a 10-year show cause. He gets to keep his job, and they go, we're just going to suspend you for 2 games next season.
Now, all of a sudden, they're coming out with everything that we knew to be pretty much true when it was happening. Yeah, they were cheating. It was like Belichick and the videotapes, right?
The early line. Only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 18.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
right, so tonight at the Target, let's see what the T-Wolves are made of. Carver High against the Dubs. They better win because I guarantee you when they go to the city by the bay in the way, they're going to have their problems. Golden State plays a different brand of basketball on that home floor. I know we saw the Rockets win that game 6 there, which I almost keeled over seeing it because they simply don't lose there.
They never lose there, that's for sure, and they did in that Rocket game 6. And they will be going home after tonight. Will it be 1-1 or like the Knicks and the Pacers? Could it be 2-0? Well, the number is pretty big. Flat 11 I've got right now. Minus 11 for the Timberwolves. 201.5 is the total. Man, that's
I think they do it. I honestly, we did it last night. We did it with the Thunder.
Yeah.
We did it with the Knicks. We hit both spreads again, and Knicks to win, and Thunder to win. Same thing here tonight. T-Wolves absolutely have to get it done. You could say that about the Celtics, but I never felt that about the Celtics after what they did in game 1, blowing a 20-point lead. How could you have faith in them? The T-Wolves didn't blow anything. They just got beat flat out by, frankly, Hield and Butler and Green, okay? So now those 3 tonight against this team, 9 deep, good luck. I like the T-Wolves going away tonight by 20.
Yeah, it kind of feels like last night, right? I mean, it's a similar situation to where, like we said with Denver, Denver last night was the night they finally felt the effects of playing that 7th game against the Clippers. Tonight might be the night the Warriors feel the effects of playing the 7th game with Houston, and you throw on top of that now they're not going to have Steph for the whole game, as opposed to just not having him for 60% of the game.
For a week.
Right. But even if you just look at the 11, it could be, I don't know if it'll be as bad as last night, but it could get into the 20-point range.
I don't think you'll see that guy. At least, my guess will be game 6 in San Francisco.
He's got some time before he's going to be back. But I also think the difference, last night, Denver kind of called it off after Joker fouled out. Like, we saw Kerr do that. You remember in the Rocket series, wasn't there one game where they got down 20 and he just completely gave the game up?
Yeah.
Like, he just completely emptied everybody out.
That's what he does to save those star players for the next game that matters. I think games 3 and 4 matter more to the Warriors. They already got what they came for, home court.
I would be very leery about getting involved in Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green props tonight or anything like that. That I think it could be a dangerous game to play. If you like playing overs. Now, if you like playing unders, then all means, maybe tonight might be the night to do it. I actually do have the most bet ones, and Green under 10.5 points is the most bet prop. DiVincenzo under 3.5 boards. Ant under 27, over 27.5 points. Kuminga over 7.5 points. Hield over 15.5 points. The most bet player props.
There's a lot of money to be made here. First of all, I think Anthony Edwards is automatic. He's going to have 35, 40 points tonight. That'll be that. Secondly, I like Kamla's theory. I bet Hield farts tonight and doesn't have 15. And I'll bet you another one. Green has to have more than 10.5 points. What do you have, 18 the other night? Somebody has to score for them. It's going to be Butler and Green. Green will, I think, come where he goes into that realm of 14 to 18. So I need 11 points to hit that bet. I do not. Now, look, I think Kuminga, forget about that, too. This guy has become Casper the Friendly Ghost. What does he do? Now, I hope I'm wrong. I hope Kuminga has 20. But Kuminga, he doesn't have 20 the entire playoffs. He doesn't even have 20 minutes. So stop with Jonathan Kuminga. He's on the verge of them getting rid of him. They're going to get rid of him.
He might get that tonight just because he might be in the game because they're getting racked. He might get to play the whole fourth quarter if the Warriors are getting racked in the game. So maybe he'd have a
so,
chance.
but let's just
to get
face
some
facts.
buckets.
He's awful. And he might have a big
He's
game
not
tonight
good.
because nobody else is going to play. Okay, fair enough.
Right.
You're probably right, but he has been
I'm
invisible.
looking, yeah.
Like he's the invisible man.
Right. I'm looking at him not from if the game was serious. I'm looking at him if it's like we say and the Wolves are smashing them
I'd bet on
in the
Post.
third quarter.
I'd bet on Podziemski. Gary Payton has to get involved in this game for Kerr. They can't just have the same, what they think that Buddy Hield's going to have 24 again and that Butler's going to have 30. Is that what they're living on, that edge? I'm sorry. Push him into the canyon.
Push him into the canyon. Send him on down. Cannonball for you there. All right, there you go. NBA for tonight. Everybody very excited. The Wolves and the Warriors in mini. We get back to 2 games tomorrow, thankfully, with the Cavs, Pacers, and the Nuggets and the Thunder. We will do that tomorrow on C2C. How about hockey?
Everybody loves hockey.
Now, everybody does love hockey. Look at that. There it is. There's our 8 teams that are still remaining. Stanley Cup playoffs, the big board, as we start to look at the games. Last night, Toronto, how about them? Also up 2-0 in their series, winning both games at home against the defending Stanley Cup champion Panthers. Panthers rally to tie the game at 3 in the third period, but Toronto with an immediate response. Mitch Marner on Sportsnet doing the honors.
Florida Panthers who get back on even terms. So each team's had a lead in the game. 2 for Florida, 1 for Toronto. Scores! And the Leafs have another lead! Miles Daniels' dad, Mitch Marner, has scored for Toronto.
So, yeah, I got to tell you, I want this series to be better. I really do. So, I've had enough of the Leafs, and they look good. Fair enough. Congratulations. Have a beer. They win the first 2 at home. Way to go. Hoorah. So how about Florida goes home and wins 2, and we turn it into something special? Because it is relatively violent. There's been all kinds of hitting. I think the Leafs have out-hit the Panthers literally, in my view, almost 2-1. And I think that's why they're winning. And, they win 5-4. They win 4-3. They win 2 one-goal games. Panthers tied up. They had a lead 2-1 on the Marchand. Then they blow that immediately, and then they go down and they tie it up, and they still lose. Can I at least get the Eastern Conference semi with the Stanley Cup champs to be good? Fair enough. If Toronto wins, fair enough. I'm all for it. I don't really care. I don't have bones in it. I really don't. But I want it to be good because right now, I just think it's been all Leafs. And I think the Panthers, I thought they failed miserably in Scotiabank. And I need them, frankly, as a hockey fan, I want them to go home and win both games to make it a series. Can we make this a good series, or are we just going to have the Leafs kick their ass? Because right now they're kicking their ass.
I think the biggest thing that I've noticed about Florida here in these first 2 games is Toronto is hitting them in a different direction. Last couple of years when Florida won the Cup and went to the final, they're a team that likes to get a lead. They get a multi-goal lead, and then they beat the hell out of you and they lean on you. They're not looking to score 4, 5, 6, 7 goals. Toronto's come out and hit them early and hit them and making Florida change their style, making them have to play offensive. Maurice doesn't want to do that. He wants to get a 1 or 2 goal lead and drag that game out. So Florida needs to keep hitting. Toronto needs to keep hitting them early, Scotty. That's what's gotten them here, this 2-0 lead.
New to social casinos? You're in for a treat. Most online casinos offer bonus cash or coins just for signing up. That's your own little participation trophy. Now, go get lucky. Let's get lucky.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple 18.5 points live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Dr. Dre said at one time here, James Wood, always up to no good, man. I like a couple players in that lineup, man, on a day-to-day basis can really get after it. Again, playing good baseball, 15-19 overall. We'll see how they pursue.
The Reds are a really fun team. Reds are important. Talk about them a ton, and I don't think they'll compete for a wild card. But again, you're a team like the Nats where they're going to give other teams trouble at times, and they can't overlook that matchup. Cubs win the division, as we all expected.
Pro baseball today, only on SportsGrid.
The Warriors' future was uncertain. Are they going to break it up? Steve Kerr coming back. They get Jimmy Butler, and they surge all the way through, and now they're through the first round.
The Warriors have guys, because of how special their star three trio is, they can make the guys around them better. They can elevate the way that they play. And we saw that. Steph Curry, 3 points in the first half, steps up in the second half, 19 points in the second half to carry them home.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Well, thank God there's a pair of good games tonight. And I got to tell you, I know that Canes game went to overtime on whatever the other night, Tuesday night, I think it was. I actually was watching that game. I was picking my teeth. I thought it was boring. I just, there was something about that game. It just, I mean, I was seeing double. It was so boring. The other game, they were down 2-0. They came back and beat the Knights, Vegas. Losing to the Oilers. But I thought I actually thought, it was 1-0, right? It was 1-0 Caps the whole game, and I was bored to death, and then they tied it, and then they beat them. I thought it was a terrible game. I know it looked good. Oh, overtime, 2-1, it had to be good. That wasn't a good game. It was boring. Honestly, I was picking my nose and my teeth.
It was very boring, and we're going to get to tonight's games in a moment. Couple other things I want to give you. I got to talk about this Rantanen performance from last night, too. I got Marchand also. Let's give Marchand, of course, as the Panthers go home, down 0-2. A lot of work left for the Panthers to do.
They're continuing to get better and grow as a group. They brought a lot of good pieces in at the deadline to, in the offseason to kind of address their back end. They're heavy back there, and obviously their coaching has changed, and their structure is very, very good right now, especially in the D zone. They don't give up a whole lot around the net. So, yeah, they're we knew it was going to be a really tough battle. We didn't expect to roll over them by any means. So, we have our work cut out. They're playing really well, and obviously their top guys are capitalizing on every opportunity, it seems like.
I thought he played well and had that goal, but I still don't frankly think he fits on that team. I think he's gone. Reynolds, see you, bye. Back to Boston.
Yeah, look, it is a weird fit seeing him there playing for that team. It's kind of bizarre.
You're listening to him talk about them like he knows them, like this is what we do, and on our, we knew it was going to be, we knew not, he's been there 5 minutes.
Right. He knows Toronto very well. He knows Toronto very well. And
Whatever.
It is a different...
He's beaten them 4 times in the playoffs.
It's a different Toronto team than he's used to seeing, with Berube as the coach. Like he just said, they just do a couple things differently. Toronto, minus 210 now I've got to win this series, with the Panthers now down 0-2 going home at plus 172. 176 here on our board. I said to you yesterday, and I still believe it. I think Florida's going to win both games at home. I think that this will go back.
Yeah, you said that.
to Toronto 2-2. So if you're a believer, 4 out of 5 is tricky. You're asking them to win 4 out of 5 now, but I do think that they're going to get these games down in Sunrise, and you're going to have some distance to this series.
Yeah, I guess I could agree with that it's hard to do 4 out of 5, but is it really that hard when you're them? They're the best team in the NHL, and they mean business. Like, even watching that, like I said, that extra attacker last night with the empty net, I thought they were scary. And I got to admit, though, I do think, even though they beat the Oilers, I do think the Oilers are scarier than them. I really do. Like, they're faster. I think the Oilers are actually better. It's hard to – you're down 3-0 in the Stanley Cup final. They came back 3-3. They lost. No matter what, they lost. But, if they don't go down 3-0, the Oilers are a better team, in my view. I really believe that, than the Panthers. I think they're faster and better. And I still think they're the 2 best teams standing. But I think the Leafs are playing better than them in Toronto. So – give me 2 games in Sunrise before we start crowning the Leafs.
Also last night, first game in Winnipeg between the Stars and the Jets. Dallas, 3-2 win, take a 1-0 series lead, and for the second game in a row, a hat trick for Mikko Rantanen, who is on absolute fire right now on ESPN.
Mikko Rantanen has had a hand in 11 straight Dallas goals. Here's Hintz. Duchesne just onside. Duchesne, nice job. Sends it across. Rantanen in front. Score! Rantanen again! It's a hat trick in Winnipeg.
I've been on the Stars. I told you I like the Stars over the Jets in the series. I thought Winnipeg would win last night because of Hellebuck and his record at home. I still like the Stars in the series. And I'll tell you what, this guy Rantanen, he's got 14 points already, 8 goals. He's going to win the Conn Smythe if they keep winning. And I think they are. They're going to win. I think they'll win this series. I think they'll go to the Western Final. I think they'll lose to the Oilers. I do think they're going to lose. But if this guy has, let's say he scores 3 or 4 more goals and has, 12 goals in the playoffs, and let's say he has 19 or 20 points through the Western Final, and they don't go to the Stanley Cup Finals, I could still see him winning the Conn Smythe. You can't have a guy have that many points and goals and ignore him, no matter what. But I do think they're going, and I think they're losing. I still stand by. Now, I could be wrong. I'm wrong 30 times a day. But the Oilers, I think, are better than them. And I think the Stars are better than the Jets. I thought the Blues were better than the Jets. I thought the Blues blew the Jets series up 3-1 with 2 minutes to go in a Game 7 on the road. I mean, for Christ's sakes. And with 1 second left, they lose. And then lose in overtime. You knew they were going to lose in overtime. That was a done deal. You know what they should have done at the end of regulation when it was tied? They should have gone to the plane and just flown home then, save time. Got a pizza.
Early flight.
Because they were dead.
Early flight.
Dead. Once they gave up that tire with 1 second left, you knew they were losing. It happens every time. 60% of the time, it happens every time.
Yeah, his 8 goals and his 14 points are just in the last 4 games. He's done that.
He's
4
crazy.
games with 8 goals, and obviously the 2 hat tricks, both in a period, which is nuts
They're
in
not
itself.
going to lose with a guy that hot.
He's carrying the mail right now. Carrying the mail for the Dallas Stars.
Nobody else does jack.
They have not. Andre made a bunch of saves last night. I know some of them looked, I guess Lucky Gabe called him earlier. I thought Andre was very good.
New to social casinos? You're in for a treat. Most online casinos offer bonus cash or coins just for signing up. That's your own little participation trophy. Now, go get lucky. See you Let's get lucky.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Dr. Dre said at one time here, James Wood, always up to no good, man. I like a couple players in that lineup, and on a day-to-day basis can really get after it. Again, playing good baseball, 15-19 overall. We'll see how they pursue.
The Reds. Reds are a really fun team. Reds are important. Talk about them a ton, and I don't think they'll compete for a wild card. But again, you're a team like the Nats where they're going to give other teams trouble at times, and they can't overlook that matchup. Cubs win the division, as we all expected.
Pro baseball today, only on SportsGrid.
The Warriors' future was uncertain. Are they going to break it up? Steve Kerr coming back. They get Jimmy Butler, and they surge all the way through, and now they're through the first round.
The Warriors have guys, because of how special their star trio is, they can make the guys around them better. They can elevate the way that they played. And we saw that. Steph Curry, 3 points in the first half, steps up in the second half, 19 points in the second half to carry them home.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
So what is Scott Arniel saying about the Jets blowing that game last night?
Well, let's just say that the head coach of the Winnipeg Jets, he wasn't thrilled with the poor effort that his team put forth in game number one.
It almost looked like some of the offense died with just rhythm or something. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, that was right out of the gate. I thought our detail, whether that was on face-off execution when we won draws, whether that was tape-to-tape passing, just execution. There was a lot of sloppiness to that game. That did not feel like a playoff game in game one and round two. That felt like game 45 in the middle of December. It obviously we know the high that we were on coming off that St. Louis game, but man, this is the playoffs. That's a game that no matter how how you start the game or however you get into the game, it's one of those ones that there's a way we have to play as a group, and that's not how we played tonight.
I got to be honest. Seriously, they, in my view, they shouldn't even be there. So they got real lucky, and I won't deny they earned it. They won. They got it done, and they scored. But the Blues literally, gagged on a spoon. They had that game wrapped up and done. Done deal. On the road, game 7, up 3-1, 2 minutes left. You blow that game. Now, this other team and that entire town, they've been celebrating ever since they won that game. They've been drinking and thinking and singing and yelling and screaming and spitting and laughing and hurling and torquing. And what did they do? They went out and went, they laid an egg. So they lost. I think it's because they shouldn't even be there. So here they are now, and they're down, and they just lost home ice. Now, Gabe said to us that they're going to win every home game. They're going to win the Stanley Cup because they're going to never lose at home. Well, that's out the window because they lost last night, so they lost the home ice. Now they got to go to Dallas no matter what after they play game 2 in Winnipeg, right? So now you got problems on your hands any way you slice it. They did not show up last night to start a Western Conference semifinal at all. I watched the game. I don't know what was worse. I already said I thought the Caps and Canes was bad. That performance last night was a stinker.
It was a stinker, that's for sure. Dallas now considerable favorites too, minus 335 to win the series after taking game 1 in Winnipeg. All right, tonight. 2 games. You mentioned Carolina and Washington. They will play game number 2 this evening in what was overtime win for Carolina in game 1. Was not an exciting game, as you mentioned. Canes are favored again here on the road. Minus $1.60 Plus 135 I've got now for the Capitals. The total's of 5.5. I mean, I gotta get something out of the Caps tonight, right, Scotty? Gotta have a little bit of gas tonight. Can we see some offense from them?
I mean, I think that's right. The problem is that the Canes are just better than them. Canes are going to beat them again.
I'm taking the Caps tonight. I'm probably going to walk the plank, but I'm going to take the Caps with them here. I'm going after Carolina. I get this thing 1-1 back to Raleigh. I don't believe that the Canes are just going to roll them in this series. There's got to be a little bit of pushback from Washington somewhere, and it's got to be tonight.
Well, it sure wasn't the other night.
It was not. Now, Ovi tonight, most bet player to score a goal at plus 145. He obviously was off the sheet in game number 1. You need him tonight, too. He's their big source. You know, they got to find themselves a way to get a power play and let him rip one of those ones from the circle and get on the score sheet.
I got to be honest. I hate to say it. I think the Canes have all the goal scorers here. They got all the guys scoring goals.
There you go. Canes, yeah, it's a tough hill. See if Washington can climb it tonight. And the other game, the late game, Edmonton and Vegas. Game 2. Oilers took game 1 at the T-Mobile. Vegas favored tonight. Minus 137, plus $1.12, plus $1.14 for Edmonton, and a 6.5.
I don't know. Like they don't lose, right? Now they're winning every game they play. They are the most dangerous team in hockey, and I don't care if the game is in your backyard or in hell. It doesn't matter where they play. They're down 2-0, they still win. It does not matter who they play. They still win. So how are you not taking that money? Like, I mean, I hope Vegas wins to make it a series, but I think they could be dead again tonight. I really do, Oilers. Think that there's something to the fact that they blow all these leads against the Edmonton Oilers? It's like the Oilers could be down 4 goals and they come back like it's nothing.
We got a series now. I think this thing is going to reset, Scott. I think home ice advantage is going to hold true in this series. I think I told you that last week. I'm expecting this. I picked the Kings in 7 before the series started, and it's like plus 700.
Ferrall coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
Is so crazy that you get both ends of that spectrum and the narrative trying to be correct in doing so and to make a statement for engagement. You're wrong, you've been wrong, and deal with the reality of the situation.
All of the people that analyze the draft mocked one in the first round, and even could he go to the Giants at number 3 or trade up back in that round. They got Gart, they didn't get Sanders, and the fall was on at that point.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to get a bunch of upsets. We're going to get a lot of craziness. Didn't happen as well. I mean, over the last calendar year, Sam, I don't ever recall 6 or 8 months of time in sports where the books lost, but here we are.
They estimate FanDuel and DraftKings lost $185 million combined for March Madness. So estimating not just that they didn't have a profitable March Madness, but it was a huge loss for them as well.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.